chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Good morning, everybody. It is Fun Friday, and it's like a total bummer that it's the last day of our Totally 80s week, but I'm super excited because we have Danielle Valero back with us today, and it's Fun Friday, which means at any point during the episode, you can actually join us live on air. Head over to projectjoylive.com, allow us to celebrate you today, and also share with us your top 80s moments, your favorite things from the 80s, any memories you might have, and we'll be super excited to share in that today. I know you can tell I found the blue eyeshadow today, everybody. Okay, I found the blue eyeshadow. I've got the Care Bears on the ears. I've got the Nintendo on the shirt. Okay, I'm trying to go all out for our 80s party today. So join us. Let us know where you're joining from and what's bringing you joy this morning. And of course, join us live on air. Go to projectjoylive.com and share with us your favorite 80s moments. It's been a lot of fun this week. We've talked about a lot of different things. Something that's bringing me joy this morning is that we had a great day yesterday for my daughter's 16th birthday. And I turned 16 in the 90s. So we're definitely going to be talking about that next week. But we had a really good time. And then also we got word that we got a house that we had been trying to get. So super excited about that. And just good things all around to add to the roller coaster of life that's been going on lately. So all of that said, we have to get into our national days today and bring on our very special guest this morning, Miss Danielle Valero. Let's welcome her now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are we still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today?
Not as good as yesterday, but yeah, like we're getting there. I've been drinking my coffee.
It's happening. We're a little bit out of time. That's it. That's what's been sort of the journey with me with the show, because I'm such a morning person, but at the same time, we all have those days where it's like,
Oh yeah.
to do about today. But we make it happen. I'm excited to get into some of our other 80s favorite things today, including some local things to us, which we'll talk about. But really quick, we got to talk about our national days today. It is National Movie Night today. Pop some popcorn, grab a blanket and your favorite buddy, put away the cell phones and tablets, and then queue up a string of movies for a fun night of entertainment. We had movie night last night, though. We watched 16 Candles with Molly Ringwald, speaking of the 80s.
Oh, love all those movies.
I think, though, out of all the Brat Pack movies, so like, you know, I think it might be my least favorite one. I'll be honest with you. I like a lot of them, but I don't know. There were so many really strange things about that movie, and I'm watching it going, really? Is this what we were like?
Yeah, now that you mention it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite one. I prefer Pretty in Pink.
Yes,
I love Pretty in Pink. And then Breakfast Club. I love a lot. But
my favorite, Breakfast
um
Club.
and I didn't even realize this till I got it. It's rated R.
What?
16 Candles is rated R. I had no idea. And there's a scene where they're checking out this girl in the high school bathroom and she's completely nude. Like because they're jealous of her body and everything else. Those girls in the high school bathroom. And I was like, oh, like, I don't recall that.
I don't either.
Some things as we're thinking back are like, that was interesting. Good times, good times. So it's National Movie Night. Let me know if you guys are going to celebrate that today. It is also National Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day. Not a fan of rhubarb.
Me either.
Though I haven't eaten it as an adult. When I ate it as a kid, I was like, I'm out. I don't know, which was probably in the 80s now that we're talking about.
Right.
So maybe things have changed since then, but as of 1985, I didn't like strawberry rhubarb pie. Let me know if you guys like it out there. I think it's a love or hate thing, rhubarb is. Also today is National Donald Duck Day. It celebrates the birthday of a funny animated character. Donald Duck made his first screen debut on June 9th, 1934 in The Wise Little Hen. I don't think I've seen that. Don't know. Also, if anybody is watching the show this morning named Earl, we wish you a happy National Earl Day. The day honors those legends named Earl. While the name is becoming uncommon these days, hopefully those who have the privilege of being so named have earned it. Apparently, in order to be named Earl, you have to be a legend.
Oh.
This is an educational show, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm learning a lot.
And to kick off our little throwback this morning, I thought that the picture I showed yesterday was the only one, but while we were coming onto the screen today, I found another. Oh, that's not it. That's the one from yesterday. Let's try this again. This one is another one that Danielle and I are in together. This is from 1989. Now because it's Friday, we're going into the 90s week next week. This is 89 to 90. Danielle and I were in 3rd grade together. Can you find us? Can you find us? Let's see. There, I can't zoom in any more than that, but there we are. There's me right there, and there's Danielle. Look at it. I feel like this was a little, our hair was a little better for this one.
No, I feel like both my hair is like not good. I'm like, great. Another one with my hair just looking,
Really?
like you can't even see it really. It's like blending in with the background.
Yeah, they didn't do a great job with the lighting.
No.
In these ones. And I think the next year, it might have been the next one or the one after, I had the laser background. And I think, so it's funny, I'm trying to look and see. There were only 3 of you that had, or no, 4 of you that had the laser one this year. The other year, like there were so many more lasers. You guys were ahead of your time. Is what it was. Let's see who else we have in this. I see Rachel Fields. I see Jessica Ozer.
Oh yeah.
I see Jamie. I see Christina, Megan. I see Amanda. Yep. We had Lisa, Jennifer, Shane. Yep. Sarah.
So, Sarah, yep.
Yep. Yep. So there's just our little throwback for the day, 1989 to 1990. So that's our little throwback going into 90s week next week as well. So that was super fun. But we have a lot that we actually didn't cover this week, from food to TV and lots of other things. But let's kick off with talking about like what's something that we haven't talked about yet that you think we should cover for 80s week.
I was saying like the big stars back in the 80s was the two Coreys. And they did a lot of movies together, all in the 80s, going into the 90s. But they were a big deal in the 80s. I remember them being hot throbs. They were all over the magazines.
Yep.
What magazines did we have? Like Tiger something?
Tiger Beat.
Yeah.
Tiger Beat magazine. And a lot of them, I think some of the magazines got really big in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
As far as like teen magazines. But it's so funny. If you look up online, there's actually, you can take some of the old quizzes from them. You remember taking the quizzes in the magazine?
Yes.
Like, who's your summer love? There's one that we took called, do you have too much attitude?
Wow. Too much attitude.
So you
never
can
too much attitude.
Nah, that wasn't a thing. Yeah, you can go look up those, look up 80s and 90s teen magazine quizzes, and you can take them. How much, the one from the 90s that I loved, I think we might take on air next week, is how much like Jenny Garth are you? 902.
I loved her. She was my favorite.
Yes. So Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. Do you know what some of their movies?
Lost Boys, and Dream a Little Dream was my favorite. That was in 89, but I was obsessed with that movie.
So do we remember what this was about? Because I don't think that I've actually seen that one.
So, it was Corey Feldman was basically the star in that, but you know, the other Corey was in it as well, playing his sidekick, his friend. But he was having these dreams that were actually reality. So he had to get in touch with this girl, and I think they were in high school. They were like teenagers, and something tied in with this old man that lived down the street.
Okay.
It's a little confusing because I haven't watched it so long, but I know it all like tied in, and it had you at the edge of your seat the whole time trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that one now, because I see it has Harry Dean Stanton in it, who was an amazing actor as well. So I'll have to, it says an accident puts the consciousness of an elderly dream researcher into the body of a bratty teenager. So that should be
there you go. It does sound interesting, right?
Yeah. Another movie we didn't talk about yesterday that we wanted to bring up this morning is Mystic Pizza, because that's right here where we live in southeastern Connecticut, and Mystic Pizza is still there today. You can go have your little slice of heaven, as they call it, and enjoy your Mystic Pizza. But I didn't realize we were having a whole moment before the show. You know, sometimes you watch things and you just don't realize like who's in this movie. This was the first movie ever for Matt Damon. Mystic Pizza was.
It's crazy because I don't even remember seeing him.
He was a baby in the movie. Like he looked super young. It looks very different than he does today. But that was, you know, a huge hit for Julia Roberts, Lily Taylor, Conchata Ferrell, William Moses, and then Matt Damon was in it as well. I had no idea, but that came out in 1988. And you were telling me something about your dad.
Right. So we lived in Groton, which is literally right next to Mystic. Yeah. Like they pretty much are like intertwined. And so every day that they were shooting the movie, every day he was running to Mystic. He's like, I'm going to go try to be an extra in the movie. And every day he tried. He never was in the movie, but he tried every day that they were filming to be like a background person, like an extra, like somewhere in the movie somewhere, so he could just point himself out on TV and be like, look, I'm in the movie.
That's so fun. That's so fun. I know that they just filmed another movie here that is going to be a Christmas movie, I think on Hallmark this year, coming out this Christmas. So I think it's actually called A Mystic Christmas.
Oh, I know I heard about that, but it was shot in Mystic.
Yep. They
Wow.
had shut down, they didn't shut it down, but they put all the Christmas decorations back up in Mystic Village. Like it was either in, I want to say like March or April, and put all the Christmas decorations back up and recorded the movie there. And then you know how like wild they go in Mystic Village for Christmas. So that was a lot to have to put out and put back. And then I think there were some shots downtown by the bridge as well.
Nice. They used to do like the Christmas, they decorated all the boats down over there near the bridge and like a parade, but with the boats. And they'd all be decorated and they'd have Santa Claus. And I used to go there as a kid with my grandmother and we'd watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe let's see. Oh, apparently, okay, A Very Nutty Christmas was the first Hallmark movie filmed at Old Mystic Village. And it
Wow.
featured Melissa Joan Hart. I didn't know about that.
Wow.
And she said she loves it. She said she loved it here. Melissa Joan Hart said that.
Oh, wow. We feel special, right?
I love that. I love it. And that was a 2018 movie, by the way, if you want to look that up. But yeah, Mystic Pizza was another one that was done here. And then I was trying to find when exactly that other one comes out, but of course when I go to Google it now, it's not coming up, so that's fine. Thanks, Google. So in addition, I wanted to talk a little bit about some TV shows because we talked about movies. Cheers was a pretty big deal it ran from 1982 to 1993. Set in a Boston bar, Cheers followed the lives of the staff and regulars. It became one of the most beloved and successful sitcoms of all time. Next one, which I mean, I don't know if we'll get canceled mentioning it or not. It was The Cosby Show. That's all I'll say about that. I loved The Cosby Show, though.
Me too.
I did. Number 3 was Miami Vice. Ran from 1984 to 1990. It followed 2 undercover detectives working in Miami. It became a cultural phenomenon of the 80s. Number 4, we mentioned him yesterday as part of our movies series that we talked about, Back to the Future, and that was Family Ties, that ran from 82 to 89.
Loved that.
Loved that show too. Also, let's see, we had Knight Rider that ran from 82 to 86, and it featured a crime-fighting car named Kit, driven by Michael Knight, played by David Hasselhoff.
Wow, that's a blast from the past.
Right?
Yeah.
Then there were the big-time dramas in the 80s too, like both Dallas and Dynasty. Dallas actually got its start in 1978, ran all the way to 1991. The show revolved around the Ewing, I can't say it, family and their oil empire, featuring a blend of drama, intrigue, and cliffhangers. And then Dynasty portrayed the lives of the wealthy Carrington family. Didn't they redid that recently, didn't they? Dynasty? I think they did.
I think I heard something about that.
Or maybe that was Dallas. They redid something recently that was one of those old 80s things, but clearly I did not watch it. Some other mentions here were Magnum PI, Hill Street Blues, and I think I'm going to look this up really quick. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Saturday morning cartoons got started at the end of the 80s and really blew up in the 90s.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Like it started with a lot of the older cartoons. And if you guys want a really fun throwback, we'll tie some of this into next week because it was so good. Go look up Saturday morning slow jams on YouTube or wherever. And the Postmodern Jukebox Band took all of the old 90s Saturday morning cartoon songs and put them to the style of a 90s slow jam. It will literally be the best thing you've ever heard. I promise.
I have to go listen to that so bad, like right now.
My favorite ones, I think of those are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that one, and then the Muppet Babies one is really good. And what's the other one? One of the duck ones.
DuckTales?
The DuckTales one. That one is
DuckTales.
Woo! It is a riot as a 90s slow jam. Let me tell you something. Okay. So highly recommend you. That's a little look into our next week when we get into slow jams here on Project Joy Live. So that was some of the TV shows. Was there any TV shows not mentioned that you were into that you can remember? I think I did the bulk of my TV watching in the 90s, I'll be honest with you.
A big one for me that I absolutely love, and like, I don't know how some people had never heard of it, but it was Kids Incorporated. I was obsessed. Fergie was on there. Yep. Like, she was a little girl.
Yep. I was trying to Punky Brewster.
Oh, how did I forget? I was obsessed with Punky Brewster.
Punky Brewster.
Yes.
Where it was at. Kids Incorporated got it started, and Punky Brewster started in 1984. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt was on there too. Kids Incorporated.
Oh, yep.
That had a lot of people got there started. And then Mickey Mouse Club in the 90s, like
in the 90s, yep.
Yeah, that was it. We'll definitely be talking about that next week. So those are some of the TV that we enjoyed in the time. I will also want to talk about some food, because we can't seem to get away from 1 week on this show without talking about food. And so we're going to talk about that. And I also want to talk about dances, Danielle. Perhaps we will demonstrate a dance or two here on the show.
Oh.
We're going to take a quick break, everybody, and we'll be right back after this.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. It is Fun Friday, June 9th, 2023. I'm joined this morning by a blast from my 80s past, Danielle Valero. I hope you've been enjoying this series. I'm excited for this whole series. We're going to get into the 90s next week, followed by 2000s and 2010s. Though 2010s wasn't too terribly long ago, it does kind of blow my mind sometimes how fast time goes and you don't even really realize like what happened even as little as 10-13 years ago. So we're going to be getting into that as well, and we're going to kind of see the progression over time here. Do you have any snacks that you remember, or food or drinks that you remember from the 80s that stick out in your mind, Danielle?
Ooh. What was that high C? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
So the high C came out big time with like that was super popular in the 80s and 90s with the fruit punch, but they came out with the Ecto Cooler.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. And
the Ecto Cooler was a green citrus flavored drink introduced in 1987. That was a minute ago.
oh yeah.
Yeah. It was
Love
a promotion actually for the animated series of The Real Ghostbusters.
Right.
Yeah. But apparently because of how popular it was continued to be produced until 2001. I had no idea it was out that long.
Neither did I.
Where was it?
Right?
Oh, no. I don't know. Pop-Tarts became super popular in the 1980s. And I had a moment with the Pop-Tart. Because it was so thin compared to normal foil, I didn't really think of the outside as foil, and I stuck the whole damn thing in the microwave.
Not the foil. In the microwave?
I did.
It's a big no-no.
Caught on fire. Luckily, it was just, I saw the fire and I was like, oh, probably should open it.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I don't know because typical foil is like pretty thick. It's like, it was, I don't know. I just thought it was like colored or something. I don't know. I was little. This was the 80s. Okay.
First of all, you put Pop-Tarts in the microwave?
I did because I wanted to hear what flavor was it? I used to like the cinnamon ones. And so it was kind of like a cinnamon bun when it would get warm. Moving on.
I'm so confused.
I know most people put them in the
toaster. Yeah.
But I didn't like them super crunchy. Like, what's my problem? So
you were ahead of your time with the toaster strudel.
That's
what you were looking for. The soft.
I needed the soft one.
Yes.
Perhaps I could have invented that and we would be in a very different place right now.
Absolutely.
Although these certain candies were invented in the 1950s, they gained immense popularity in the 80s, and that was Pop Rocks. Yep. Popping and fizzing, creating a sensation in the mouth, delighting kids, and sparking urban legends about exploding stomachs. Remember those rumors?
Yeah.
That was a fun time.
But we're all still here.
Nothing like scaring the kids.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Fruit roll-ups were introduced in the 1980s. Kids enjoyed unrolling these sticky treats, which were shaped like thin sheets, and creating them as a fun and portable snack. I love some fruit roll-ups even today.
They taste different to me today.
Yeah, they do. I think I like fruit snacks even more going into the 90s because it was the Gushers for me, the Gushers and the fruit in the foot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those were a big deal. Also, Jell-O pudding pops were a big deal in the 80s. They were introduced by Jell-O and made with layers of creamy pudding, and I have a photo I don't think it was a pudding pop though, but it was from the 80s. I have a photo of me eating, I think it was a fudgicle though. I'm not sure it was a pudding pop. But yeah, there are several of those pictures we won't be showing live on air. Um, Also, I had never heard of this. Apparently, in 1985, Coca-Cola introduced New Coke. It was a reformulated version of their classic cola. However, the response from consumers was overwhelmingly negative, leading to a quick retraction and reintroduction of the original Coca-Cola formula as Coca-Cola Classic. So that's where the classic came from with Coke, because they tried to change it up and people were like, nope, we're not having it. We're not doing it. Do you remember Tab?
Yes.
It was a diet cola drink introduced by the Coca-Cola Company in 1960s, but it gained a cult following in the 80s. It became known as the soda of choice for many people looking for a low-calorie beverage option. Yeah, I don't think I ever participated in the Tab.
Me either.
What about Tang? Tang was a powdered, disgusting orange flavored drink.
Yeah, that's why I kind of made a face. I'm like, I remember tasting it, but drinking it like an everyday beverage, no. It's gross.
Apparently, it was heavily marketed as the drink of choice for astronauts and became associated with space exploration. I don't remember that.
That's sick.
I don't know. Good morning, Frank. Good to see you today. Glad you're here. Tell us your favorite moments, memories, or favorite things about the 80s, or you can join us live on air too, projectjoylive.com. Capri Sun was introduced in the 1980s, and it's still super popular today. The little, the
Pouches.
kids love those things. And it is no easier today than it was then to get that damn straw in. Okay? Couldn't get the straw in ever. I bent it, then I ended up poking it with a pen or something and drinking it right out of the thing. I did that right after I put the Pop-Tart in the microwave. Okay. There we go. All right. So, what else do we have? Okay. I know what we have to do. We have to talk about dances. Do you remember any specific dances from the 80s?
Okay, so The Running Man, right? That was in the 80s. Sometimes I'm like, was it the 90s?
I know. I'm the same way.
The Cabbage Patch.
Yep. The Cabbage Patch dance involves hopping from one. Wait, what?
I don't remember hopping.
I don't remember hopping either. I know you swing the arms back and forth and what?
Wait a minute.
I need to read you this description.
Did a millennial write this? Because
I probably listen to this. The Cabbage Patch dance involves hopping from one foot to the other while swinging the arms back and forth in a cabbage picking motion.
Cabbage picking?
What? No, that's not what I remember. Wasn't the Cabbage Patch like? Wasn't
yeah.
Okay.
Like this.
I don't recall.
And then your legs kind of like, side. You're not hopping though.
There was no hopping. I assure you, there was no hopping. I can't. I don't even know where that came from.
Who wrote that?
I have no idea. Okay. In addition, do you remember trying to do the moonwalk, Danielle?
Yes.
I remember trying and failing, but
there was this boy in the neighborhood who could do all the Michael Jackson dances. Like he was obsessed, and he used to moonwalk.
Can we name drop this morning? Can we embarrass someone?
His name's Frankie. But you remember Frankie?
Yep.
Yes. Trying to remember his last name, but his sister, he had two sisters, a younger one, an older one, Fifi and Tiny,
Yep. Frankie, can you still move like Jackson? Let us know. The robot was a
Mm-hmm.
dance, became popular in the 80s, influenced by the rise of science fiction and robotic characters in pop culture. My all-time favorite dance that started in the 80s or that gained popularity in the 80s was the electric slide.
Yes, the electric slide was everything.
It still is everything. And if you think it's not everything, you're in denial.
Listen, they had a whole thing about what that song really meant, like recently. Like
Really?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say because, but yeah.
Why? I'm gonna go look it up now. Okay, tell us some more dances, Danielle.
Uh
Let's see what
gosh.
else was there.
I have no
The worm.
mm,
I
wow,
couldn't
that was
do
the 80s?
Yeah, I couldn't do
Nice.
that though.
Oh no.
Mm-mm. But it became a popular move in breakdance and hip hop culture of the 80s.
Right.
And how about, oh, here we go. How about the sprinkler?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we had to have a demo of that one. Um, breakdancing
That was a
became,
big thing.
yeah, gained a lot of popularity in the 80s. It's encompassed a variety of dance moves such as head spins, windmills, freezes, and power moves, showcasing acrobatic and rhythmic skills. Um, the electric. Listen, I'm down a rabbit hole with the electric slide.
Oh, it was like a whole thing. TikTok. Like when you realize what the electric slide actually means, like the song, and you listen to the words, and yeah.
Wow. I'll have to go down that rabbit hole later. But fun fact, the song is actually called Electric Boogie, which I didn't know when I became an adult and I went to go look up the song and I'm like, why can't I find the electric slide anywhere? Because it wasn't called that. It was called the Electric Boogie, which I didn't know until
It makes sense though, the whole boogie oogie part of the song.
we get a small bell for that one. Also, see, although it gained popularity in the 90s, the Macarena actually originated in the 80s, apparently. That's when it started, and I didn't know.
What? I had no idea. That's crazy.
We are going to do the Macarena live on air next week. It's happening. Okay. It'll be a lot of fun. So a couple phrases and see some of these two that I think definitely became more popular in the 90s, but totally using the word totally for everything started in the 80s. Do you remember the phrase gag me with a spoon?
Yes.
That was one. It was a phrase used to express disgust or disbelief. Also, thanks to a popularized Wendy's commercial, "Where's the beef?" became a popular saying. And it apparently became a humorous way to question the substance or importance of something. You remember a certain Mr. T phrase, Danielle?
Oh, something fool.
I
I'm
pity the
sure.
fool.
Pity the fool. Yeah, there we go.
I'll Be Back was made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie The Terminator.
Mm.
Let's see. Don't have a cow.
Mm.
Calm down. I still say that a lot.
Mm.
Don't have a cow, man. And I think it got even more popular in the 90s. And then as Bart Simpson used to say
Yes.
it all the time in The Simpsons. Yeah. The phrase "just say no" became very popular as the anti-drug campaign led by Nancy Reagan happened, and it encouraged individuals to reject drugs and make positive choices. Do you have any good memories of the DARE program, Danielle?
Oh, so many. So many.
Officer Sanford.
Yes.
Shout out.
Yes. He was always up in our school.
Yes.
Always.
And you know what was great about him? Remember when we used to have the picnics and stuff in Bramford Manor? He was
Yes.
always there. He came to those. When I moved to Sound Breeze, we had picnics there as well, and he would come to those. He was so involved in the community, and it really made it like, I remember for me, it was such a good experience because it wasn't like this big scary police officer that was coming to tell you just not to do drugs. He was involved with everybody, outside of our outside of just the school. And so that was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Officer Saber. And he's retired now.
Oh, wow. He was a young buck back then.
I know it. The word radical, meaning excellent or cool, became popular, or just rad. And then apparently the phrase "no pain, no gain" was when that in the 80s when that became popular.
Oh, wow.
Fitness, and I didn't realize. I thought that was in the 90s.
My husband still says that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that still like that. I remember, and up until the 80s, I remember the ladies at Beauty is Pain. As we go through, I think we've become so delicate, now, and where it's like before it was like you couldn't get anywhere unless you went through the hard stuff.
Yeah.
You want to look beautiful, you gotta just you spray the hairspray till you can't breathe, and you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just do it.
I know. Any final things, any moments, any memories that you want to share about the 80s before we wrap up our totally 80s week this week?
It's funny because it's looking back at our childhoods so different from kids these days. And and I know I sound like one of those older people, like back in my day, but it's like we were always outside.
Yeah.
One of the Gen X things I saw that kept playing one of the videos is like one of the millennials saying like, you guys are always talking about how you drank from a hose. Like, did you not have a sink? And this lady goes on and goes, dude, we weren't allowed in the house.
Right.
Like, and that's how it was. Like, there wasn't all this technology, and we were outside from like morning till night.
Right. Yeah.
A whole different world.
It was a different time. And I shared a little bit about that yesterday. It's been so challenging. I think I had this realization in the last couple of months that I think moving back here to my hometown where I was in the 80s and the 90s has been hard because even though things look the same, it's just not the same. And there was a different time. We used to rope off the parking lots in Bramford Manor, and everybody would bring out their grills and the little kiddie pools, and everybody would be getting together and doing stuff.
Right.
And now it's like you plan something and everybody's busy. It's just not. True. It's not, our human connection. We have this social media, but that human connection is missing, I think.
It's definitely missing. Yeah. I agree 100.
So do you think there's a way, we'll get into a little serious topic for a minute. Do you think there's a way for us to get back to that time, or you think we just have to settle for how things are now?
I think that we can only work on ourselves and how we want to do things, and not have expectations for everybody else, but maybe be an example. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's a great thought. And, I had, when we first moved here, in the month of November, I was like, I'm just going to tell everybody that we're just going to get together on the weekends in November. And that's when Danielle saw each other for the first time since I think probably the early 90s. Very early 90s was the last time we had seen each other in person before that. And I just did, like, I can't make anybody come. I can't make anybody show up, but it was such a cool thing because you and I had a moment too. And I've shared with people a little bit about this because we weren't super close back in the 80s time, and we both had sort of thoughts about each other that were not quite accurate at the time, or things that we had sort of made up in our head about why each other might not like the other. And it was such a cool thing for me, I have to tell you, that's on a very personal level here, to sit at the kitchen table as adults and talk about those things and just, it was funny. It was a healing moment for me, because there was so much back then that I had convinced myself of how people thought about me. And so I just had to tell you, I'm not going to run my blue eyeshadow today, but it was a moment for me. And I just had to say thank you for that.
Oh, and
good.
I thank you for reaching out.
Yeah.
Because you made the first move with reaching out to everybody and trying to get together. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we would have hung out had you not reached out.
Right.
And of course, I'm sitting there and I wanted to like see you. You're back in Connecticut.
Yeah.
The whole thing was like, I don't know, I was drawn to it. And then after sitting there at the table with you and your husband and hanging out, and my husband there, I left there and I was like, they're amazing. Like, I had so much fun, and I felt like we spoke the same language, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I felt very much at ease, and yeah, it was a good time.
I appreciate that. And it's fun too. Like, it's kind of like a full circle moment to, like, we had our thing, but then to see like our husbands cutting up and stuff too. Like, it's such a, like, I don't know. It's just, to wear out the Oprah full circle moment thing. It really was. It really was just a vibe. And I appreciate you all coming. And I'm so glad that we've reconnected and you've been able to join me for this series too, which has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's been awesome.
A lot of fun. All right, you guys, we got to talk about birthdays because it is the end of the show. So let's get our birthdays on. So in the celebrity world today, there is a birthday that is very 90s, and that's Michael J. Fox has a birthday today. So, or very 80s. So happy birthday to Michael J. Fox. Also, Johnny Depp is 61 years old today. Happy birthday, Johnny Depp. And Natalie Portman has a birthday today. Happy birthday to her. The celebrities in my life, there's a couple amazing people. Rebecca Rowland has a birthday today. And I'm trying to make sure that I get because I didn't write it down before the show. Also, Andrea Westbrook, who is a local teacher here in Connecticut. Happy birthday to her. Let's see who else. From the Breakthrough Show Network, from our Breakthroughs Around the World series, representing the Waiwaikum tribe of natives in Western Canada, Darren Sprinkle has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Darren. And one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, she is another amazing host. I have been on numerous episodes of her shows. Tamara L. Hunter has a birthday today. So happy birthday to her. And with that, we have to get our birthday song on. Are you ready, Danielle?
Oh, yes.
She's never ready for this part, everybody. Perhaps we could do
I'm not a singer.
We could do the Cabbage Patch or the sprinkler for this one. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Johnny Depp, Natalie Portman, Michael J. Fox, Rebecca Rowland, Andrea Westbrook, Darren Sprinkle, and Tamara Hunter. Yes. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating today and over the weekend. I will give some honorable mentions from the weekend on Monday, but we will be back next week for an amazing, amazing time. What are we doing next week, Danielle?
90s.
Yes, it's going to be so amazing. I am so pumped for 90s. It is our 90s nostalgia week here on Project Joy Live, and we are going to be following a very similar format. Look at there. You remember, got a couple throwbacks in that picture there. You remember making the the little paper thing.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We're going to make some of those live. We got so much we're going to do next week. Really excited. We're going to talk about top news on Monday, Tuesday. Don't forget to tune in because we're going to be doing trivia again. And it was so much fun last week. JoJo won the prize this week. And so you want to win the prize. You got to tune in, answer the questions, and participate. And that's how you win. Then on Wednesday, we will be talking about music and movies. Danielle will be back with us on Thursday and Friday. We'll be talking about top fashion trends and probably tie in some other things on Thursday. And then, of course, Fun Friday for a decade in review. It's going to be so much fun. So 90s next week. And then what else are we doing next week? Next week on the Breakthrough Show Network, we also have a new episode of Beyond 2D on Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We are continuing our series on integrity. This has been an interesting one. It's been a tough one. There are a lot of layers to integrity, but this week we're going to be joined by the amazing myth slayer Scott Mason, straight from New York City. So he'll be joining us Tuesday night, and I think that might be Spirit Sessions. Don't forget that at 12 o'clock on Sunday. And that's all I've got for you today. Thank you for joining us. It's been a fun week going down memory lane. Yes. Thank you, Danielle, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I will see you next week, my friend. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Thank all of you for being here today. And I want to remind you to make joy a priority in your life today and every day. And don't forget to stay rad. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.